Hi everyone, a very good morning to all of you, and I welcome you all to the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. Guys, in this particular video, we are going to discuss the entire analysis of Hindu newspaper along with their background as well as detailed way forward. And also, I would like to tell you that we have also incorporated some major upgrades to our session. For example, now onwards, we will be taking up, first of all, there will be the overview. There will be the detailed discussion of all the articles through the synoptic notes that was there earlier also, but now also we will be taking up the MCQ questions, and in these MCQ questions also we have brought some very important updations. For example, we will be taking 3 MCQ questions daily. These 3 MCQ questions, 2 questions will be from current affairs. Now the current affairs that has been asked in previous day or in the previous sessions, from their current affairs will be asked. It will not be an entirely a random question. So this particular thing will help you to revise. Okay, and also along with the MCQ question, MCQ questions on current affairs, we are going to take up, just a minute, we are going to take up one question. We are going to take up one question from previous year questions also. Okay, so 3 questions, 2 MCQ from current affairs, 1 question from PYQ. And also guys, what we are going to do, we are also going to cover one mapping entry every day. Now this mapping entry also will not be random, and the mapping entry we are going to cover from those particular dimensions where there is a possibility that such thing might be asked in examination. For example, today we'll see Japan. Why? Because in Japan earthquake came. Okay, so on such line we have incorporated these changes. Okay, so one change is that MCQs will be there. Second change is that there will be the mapping entry that would be there, and the third change also you will be finding along the way. So that is all guys about it. And one more thing I would like to tell you, one more thing that I would like to tell you guys here, that I want that you please reply to these particular questions, because if reply or responses would not be there, then it will really be difficult to continue that, because your engagements play a very important role. Okay, so please ensure that you are answering to these particular things. Now, first of all, guys, as we do in every class, we'll take overview of entire newspaper and we'll try to understand that which articles are important for the examination, and then we'll take up the detailed discussion one by one. Okay. Now, moving on. So first article that we have here, Navy thoughts hijacking attempt in Arabian Sea. So guys, in this particular capacity, some prelims related important dimensions are there that we are going to see. Also some mains related dimension will take. Then here we have side article, India's GDP estimated to grow by 7.3%. So here with respect to prelims, NSO and its related functioning, we are going to see. Then further moving on, after that MHA orders a probe into spurious drugs case. So guys, basically when we talk about the drugs, understand this particular thing, that first of all, India happens to be the largest generic drug manufacturing country. We are called as the pharmacy to the world, but at the same time, spurious, adulterated, substandard quality drugs are also found. And recently what has happened, there was certain samples, 43 samples that were collected from the 3 hospitals, and there were a lot of such drugs, out of that sample which were of spurious, adulterated quality. So MHA will look in this particular direction. Then further moving on, here we have this article, centers Digi Yatra enrollment. So we will see this particular article also with respect to the examination, fine, because in prelims etc these initiatives could be asked. Then further moving on, after that we have the regional section, city section. Here largely political news related to Delhi they have been given. Much important things are not given here in this particular section. So directly we will reach to editorial page. And now as we come on editorial page, first article that we have here is drug war. Now this article, it's talking about the antimicrobial resistance that is emerging to be a silent epidemic. Now in this capacity, some developments we will see. Then this article also we will cover, the need to examine the examination system. Fine. Then below we have this article, bring back the faith in India's politics. Now I have read this entire article, but article contains too much generic undertone that in 2024 opposition parties, ruling parties need to understand that, for example, ruling parties need to adopt a restraint, opposition parties need to cooperate, all such things are there. Then further moving in this direction, the next ground zero. So this article, building a city around the temple, so developments around Ram Mandir, etc. have been given. Then further moving on, Supreme Court issues notice to plea seeking norms on seizure of device. We'll take this particular article. Okay, LET militants behind attacks of Kashmiri Pandits. Now further moving on in this direction, guys. Okay, here we have one article. 5 of 6 accused in parliament breach gives note to undergo a polygraph test. So what is polygraph test? We'll take this thing for exam. Then further moving on, center defense putting up selfie points. Now nothing much important is given, guys, in this particular capacity. So basically what happened recently, one RTI was made asking that on railway station selfie points are there where people click photographs, how much money is it put in those selfie points. Then that RTI data that came, then people started criticizing that you are wasting so much of money. Then railway said that now we are changing our RTA rules, before giving any information that is to be cleared first. So such thing has developed. For examination, guys, no need to go too much in detail in this particular article. Then further moving on, not surprising, Chinese media praising Modi. Again, much important things have not been given here. Deep tech policy. Now what is a deep tech policy? We'll take this for examination. Then we have these tenders, etc. Okay, key concerns not addressed in new PG model education regulation. Now here cabinet gives nod to Prithvi Programme. We'll see this Prithvi Programme. Okay, also guys, here there is one article, secularism in India is not just as same as Europe. We'll take this particular article also. Fine. Then coming to business page, PMI signal service activity rebounded to a 3-month high. Fine. Then guys, we have here the corporate trends, etc. Then on world page coming. So on world page, guys, we don't have much important articles. Israel puts forth post-war plan for Gaza. Okay, then North Korea fires artillery shell near South Korean islands. So basically, guys, if you remember, we have seen 2 days back also one more article that in 2024 new theaters of confrontation might emerge, including the region around the Korea. So here North Korea has fired the artillery near the South Korea, which can be seen as an act of provocation. Okay, then further moving on, we have this sports section. Okay, so that is all, guys, about the overview of today's newspaper. And now let's discuss detailed by detailed analysis of all the articles. And one more thing, guys, I would like to tell you that in newspaper also we will be covering entire Hindu as we do. But as if there are some important articles in Indian Express PIB also, that we also take. So today's newspaper also contains one very good article from Indian Express also, and one article from PIB also has been there. So let's discuss this one by one. Now every class we start with a GS quotation. So today we are going to take quotation from Albert Schweitzer. So Albert Schweitzer says that the purpose of human life is to serve and to show compassion and the will to help others. So human life is nothing apart from compassion, empathy and altruism to the other people, to other creatures, to the other forms of life. Okay, you can use this particular idea in GS paper number 4, ethics, human values, and human value has specifically been mentioned into the chapter of foundational values. So you can use this particular idea there. Now moving on, and let's take first article for the today. First article for the today. Okay, first we will take the MCQs. First we'll take the MCQs and then we'll take the first article. Okay, so first MCQ that is there. Consider the following statement with respect to the India's debt situation. Now first of all, let me tell you that why this question has been asked. So recently what happened, IMF has given the projections with respect to India's debt to GDP ratio, and after that finance ministry has also responded with respect to the India's debt to GDP ratio. So this particular development was a lot in news. So therefore on this particular line a question can be asked, and a question might be something like this. Consider the following statements with respect to India's debt situation. We have two statements. Statement number 1, the federal and state debt to GDP target set by FRBM Act are 20% and 40% respectively. And the second statement is the ratio of India's public debt to GDP is now under 60%. So choose the correct option 1, 2, 3 or 4. And I want you that please write in the comment box. Please write in the comment box that what is the right option, A, B or C or D. Okay, and now guys, in the next class, now what we are going to do, we will make it as a ritual that question will be asked from the previous section. You will give the answer, and in the next section, first we will discuss the answers, and the answers will be discussed with the logic and concept, not just passive reading will be, not just passive answering will be there. Then the next question that we have, question number 2. Now this is a PYQ. This is a PYQ, previous year question already asked in the UPSC. The chairman of public sector bank are selected by A, Bank Board Bureau, B, Reserve Bank of India, C, Union Ministry of Finance, or D, management of concerned bank. So this is a question. Please write your answer. And then further moving, question number 3, consider the following statement. Now, why this particular question has been asked? First of all, let me give you that logic. So recently there was the truckers, drivers protest going on. So with respect to this, there are certain informations that have come, or there were certain issues in the news. So in this context, this article has been framed. All India Motor Transport Congress is autonomous government body. Okay, now its role was there. I'll explain you. The past 10 years have seen an increase in hit and run incident despite the National Road Safety Council's best efforts. So these kind of statements are now being asked, that there is a consistent increase, consistent decrease, all such things. Choose the correct option. Statement 1 is correct, 2 is correct, both are correct, none are correct. Okay. Then moving on, please write in the comment box that what is the right answer. Moving on, guys. So recently what happened, there was an earthquake that was reported in Japan, which further triggered the fears of tsunami. So because the Japan was in news because of this earthquake, there are certain developments which we are going to see here with respect to the Japan earthquake and geographical location around the Japan. So let's see this particular thing. I will come on this particular picture in a minute, because this will be clear once we'll see the basic geography and basic facts related to Japan. So now guys, first of all, when we talk about Japan, so Japan is an archipelago of so many of the islands, and when we talk about the Japan, there are more than 14,000 islands in the Japanese archipelago. But when we talk about the Japan, okay, the majority of the Japan, it is consisting 5 main islands. It consists 5 main islands. Now what are these 5 main islands from north to south? So 5 main islands north to south. So first we have Hokkaido. So this particular island is called as Hokkaido. Fine. Then after that we have, okay, after that we have Honshu. So Hokkaido, then we have Honshu. Okay. So Hokkaido, then there is Honshu. Then after Honshu, there is Shikoku. So this is Shikoku Island. So this is the Shikoku Island. Fine. Then there is Kyushu Island. So this island is Kyushu Island. Okay. And then there is Okinawa Island. Okinawa Island is here. So this is the Okinawa Island. Okay. So north to south, 5 major islands of Japan. Again, let's see that. So 5 main islands of Japan. So first is Hokkaido, H, Hokkaido. Then second is Honshu, H, Honshu. H for Hokkaido, H for Honshu. Then after that we have Shikoku. Okay. Then there is Kyushu Island. And then finally there is the Okinawa Island. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the 5 major islands of Japan, and in total 14,000 plus islands are there in the Japanese archipelago. And when we talk about Honshu is considered as the main or mainland Japan, or this is the biggest island of Japan. Now guys, when we talk about here, there are certain important locations that we have. Okay, so here you see there is Pacific Ocean. Okay, so yes, here you see Pacific Ocean. Here there is East China Sea. Here there is a Philippine Sea. Okay, here there is Yellow Sea. Here there is a Sea of Japan. Now Sea of Japan is particularly very important. Why? Because earthquake that was reported recently in the Japan, it was reported here at Noto. So here the Sea of Japan becomes very important. So when we talk about Sea of Japan is a marginal sea between Korean Peninsula and Japan. So here you can see we have North Korea, here we have South Korea. So this entire is Korean Peninsula. So here there is Korean Peninsula, here there is Japan. So Sea of Japan will lie between the Korean Peninsula and Japan. And one more thing guys, that this particular Sea of Japan, as it is separated from Pacific Ocean, tidal activity is very much less here. So it has no tides, fine, and this capacity, it is very much similar to Mediterranean Sea. So this particular question can also be asked in your prelims examination, that tidal activity is largely absent in Japan. True or false? Okay, so they might give you, consider the following statements. In one, that statement could be there that tidal activity is huge or tidal activity is exceptional, okay, in Japan and Mediterranean Sea. So that is wrong. No tidal activity, that is correct. Okay, so one thing. Also guys, one more thing, that there is high dissolved oxygen content. Okay, okay, fine. So high dissolved oxygen content is there, and because of the high dissolved oxygen content, there is fishing, which is the main economic activity. And you might be knowing also that how fishing is an important contributor in the Japanese economy. Okay, so this is about the Japan. Now coming back guys, if you see here, so we have seen that recently a 7.5 magnitude earthquake was observed. So where the earthquake was observed? Earthquake was observed here at Noto. So here you see that because the earthquake emerged here, there was the fear that the tsunami might be triggered by the earthquake, and therefore in this particular capacity, what could have been the challenge? What is the challenge for Japan? So this particular time, the challenge for the Japan was on its western coast. Okay, so these are some of the important information with respect to Japan that you should be knowing. So if a question came on mapping, now you can be sure that the question will not go outside this. Okay, so now you are covered with respect to all such things. Fine. So that is about it. And guys, please do comment as what will be the right option. And moving on, now let's take first article. So first article that we have, Navy thwarts hijacking attempt in Arabian Sea. Okay, now understand this particular thing guys, that what has happened in the last month, that is in December, and in this month January, there are multiple number of attempts of hijacking, multiple attacks that have been made on the ships. Particularly what has happened, Houthi rebels who are operating out of Yemen, they have said that until and unless Israel does not stop attack on Gaza, we will continue these particular ships. So first of all, before going in this particular article guys, certain important locations you need to see here. Okay, so here you see we have Yemen, here we have Red Sea, here we have Gulf of Aden, and here we have the Bab el Mandab also. Here we have the Bab el Mandab. Now when we talk about Bab el Mandab happens to be an important point for the entry in the Red Sea. Then here we have the Gulf Suez Canal, and then we can go to the Mediterranean Sea. And around 12% of the world trade that happens, it moves through the Red Sea. And here we have Yemen, and here we have Somalia. So first of all, Somalia pirates, they have always been a very big irritant to the shipping. But along with the Somalian pirates, now the Houthi rebels in Yemen, after Israel war has started, they has also started attacking the ships. And in this capacity, multiple multiple ships having Indian crew, they have also been attacked. First of all, let's see the ships that got attacked, and what was the India's response in the midst of these particular attacks. So first of all, we see on December 14, what happened? A Malta flagged ship MV Ruin, okay, it had 18-member crew. Okay, fine, it sent a distress message, Why? 6 unknown persons, 6 pirates, they tried to enter in this particular ship, and this particular ship was 700 nautical miles from the Indian coast. Then after that, on December 23, what happened? Chem Pluto. Now Chem Pluto, it also contained Indian crew, so 21 Indian and 1 Vietnamese crew was there. It was attacked by a projectile, and it was just 217 nautical miles away from Porbandar. Okay, and then on December 23, a Gabon flagged oil tanker, that is MV Sai Baba. Okay, it has all India crew, all India crew. It was also attacked by a drone. It was also attacked by a drone. Okay, and now what has happened? Now what has happened? One more ship, that is Leela Norfolk. Neera Norfolk. This has been attacked. So this is the latest ship, and as this ship, that is, just a minute, as this particular ship, that is Leela Norfolk, has been attacked, what has happened? INS Chennai has been deputed, and INS Chennai has rescued this particular ship. Warning was given by Indian Navy, and just by the warning of Indian Navy, these pirates, they left the ship, and then that ship was rescued. Now, what are the important things that we need to see? What are the important things that we need to see for the examination? Two important things you need to see. It is not needed how many kilometers away it was attacked. No. First, you need to know about the Marcos. You need to know about the Marcos. Why you need to know about the Marcos? Because Marcos were the one who saved this particular ship. Okay. So, Marcos. Now, who are the Marcos? Marcos are marine commandos. Okay, marine commandos, and the short form, that is Marcos. Now, they are the marine commando force of Indian Navy. They are a special force. But one more thing you need to keep it in mind, that they don't only work, they are not only the force of Indian Navy, but they also work for the tri services. They also work for the tri services. Keep it in mind. Now, Marcos, the word marine is given, so it will come in your mind that they work only in the sea, but no, they are capable of operating in sea, air, as well as land. And when we talk about land, so they have also already taken specialized operations in Jammu and Kashmir along the Jhelum River as well as Wallar Lake. Okay, and some Marcos, they are the part of a tri-service armed forces also. So primarily they are deputed to Indian Navy, but they also work under the tri-services arrangement. Now, this Marcos, they have been very important, and there are certain historical operations also where they have played an important role. For example, Operation Pavan. Now, Operation Pavan was taken in 1987 and against the LTTE to secure the Jaffna Liberation Tamil Tigers Elam, which was declared as a terrorist outfit by Sri Lanka. So they have taken the operation against in Operation Pavan. When Indian peacekeeping forces were deployed, they have played a role here. Now, for example, just you need to have that Operation Pavan was in context of which country? It is in context of Sri Lanka. Also, they have played an important role in Operation Cactus in 1988. Now, Operation Cactus, what it was? This Operation Cactus was to foil the attempt of coup in Maldives. So, to prevent the coup in Maldives, Operation Cactus was taken. Now, understand this thing, that India always have followed neighborhood first policy, and in this neighborhood first policy, Maldives, when the coup was happening, therefore India responded. So these are some very important operations. Okay, so Marcos can be asked in your prelims examination. Then the next is now see, INS Chennai went and rescued the Leela Norfolk here. So what is this INS Chennai? And also, as multiple attacks have happened on the ships, we need to know that what are the major naval ships that have been deputed by India and what is their respective location. Fine, that also we will see here. So, okay. So guys, see here that when we talk about the INS Chennai, so INS Chennai rescued the ship. Now, INS Chennai, it belonged to Kolkata class ships. Under the Kolkata class, there are 3 ships that are there, and these Kolkata class ships, they are also known by Project 15A. By the way, we have discussed it earlier also, Project 15A. Now, when we talk about Project 15A or the Kolkata class ships, there are 3 ships. What are these 3 ships? It is INS Kolkata, INS Kochi, and INS Chennai, and all these particular ships have been built by Mazgaon Dock Limited, and these 3 ships are the largest destroyers that are being operated by Indian Navy. Now, what are the locations of these particular ships and what are the major destroyers that have been deputed by India to protect the anti-piracy? So first we have INS Kolkata, fine. Now, and let's see now the location here. Okay, so yes, we have INS Kolkata. Now INS Kolkata is deployed in the Red Sea. INS Kolkata, it is deployed in the Red Sea. Then next is INS Kochi. Now INS Kochi is deployed in the south of Yemen's Socotra Island. So here we have Yemen, here we have Socotra Island, and here in the south we have INS Kochi. In the south we have INS Kochi. Okay. Then after that we have INS Mormugao. Okay, we have INS Mormugao, and INS Mormugao is deputed in the West Arabian Sea. INS Mormugao, it is deputed into the West Arabian Sea. Then the next is INS Chennai, and INS Chennai is in the Central Arabian Sea. So here INS Chennai is there, Central Arabian Sea. And then there is also one more, that is the INS Vishakhapatnam, and INS Vishakhapatnam has recently moved to the North Arabian Sea. So Vishakhapatnam is here, Chennai is here, Mormugao is here. Okay, fine. Kochi is here, fine, and then Kolkata is here. So this is the location of the ships. Now what this particular things point to? This particular things points to India's comprehensive policy in the Indian Ocean. And when we talk about Indian Ocean, India aims to emerge as a net security provider in Indian Ocean. And in this particular attempt, all these particular deployments have been done by India. Okay, all these deployments have been done by India. So this is, guys, all about this particular development, and this is what you need to know specifically for exam point of view. Now guys, one particular thing just I want to highlight is that often I see this particular thing, that unnecessary information aspirants are collecting. For example, where attack happened, how many crews were there, how many crews were Indian. Now that is not important. These are the important things that you should be more careful on. Then moving on, and let's take the next article. Okay, so this article, guys, I have taken from Indian Express, as I told you that if some good important key terms are coming, we'll take it. Now, what is this article? Now, basically, this article talks about cyber kidnapping. So a Chinese boy got cyber kidnapped in Utah, in US, and he was rescued, fortunately. So a question that has come as, what is this cyber kidnapping? Because this looks to be a very unique thing and a strange thing. So basically, when we talk about usual kidnapping or abduction, what happened? A person will be physically abducted, and then a call will be made to the parents or the loved one of that person, and some ransom money will be asked. That is the physical abduction, but cyber kidnapping is different. So what happens in cyber kidnapping? So basically, suppose there is a person A. Okay. Now this person A will be contacted by the cyber kidnappers. And they will manipulate this person A. For example, we have some of your objectionable photos, we have some objectionable videos, or they will tell to this Mr. A that we will harm your family, we will harm your loved ones if you don't go in isolation, and they psychologically manipulate this person, that this person himself or herself will go in some isolation, in a tent, in a warehouse, in an abandoned facility. And then what will happen? These cyber kidnappers will then contact the family of this Mr. A. They will contact the family of this Mr. A and will tell them that we have kidnapped your boy, girl, or your relative, and if you want him or her back, you need to give us this particular money. And also what they do, there is entire video surveillance that is going on, and they take the videos of this Mr. A in such a way, and then they will send this video back to the family, saying them that if you don't give the money, we will kill them. Okay, we will kill them. And at the same time, they will also say to Mr. A that if you left this facility, we will kill your family. So on two fronts, this particular thing is going on. On one front, they will manipulate this person. On other front, they will manipulate the family. Okay, and in this capacity, this cyber kidnapping goes on. Okay, and there is so much increase in these incidents of cyber kidnapping. Okay, so recently what has happened, a cyber kidnapping was carried in USA. So what they do, they look like that their loved one, they are being held captive. They show them that they are bound, they are gagged. Also, they the photographs and videos are shared. The videos are shared. Okay, so this is something that has happened. And guys, now with the emergence of artificial intelligence, okay, such crimes can further increase. Okay, so that is all guys about this particular development. So the term you need to know, 3 points I would like to highlight. There is no actual kidnapping. Two, the person isolates himself or herself because the person is manipulated, deceived, or is blackmailed. Third, what happens in this entire setup? Third parties are not involved. Some physical abductors are not involved. So this is about the cyber. This is about the cyber kidnapping. Now, moving on, and let's go to the next article. Center's Digi Yatra enrollment takes off as airport security staff signs the flyer with their consent. Now, this article also we are going to see with respect to prelims examination schemes. Digi Yatra. Now, what is this Digi Yatra? First of all, let's understand Digi Yatra, and then we will see that why this article has come recently in the news. So, guys, what has happened in the past? There is so much congestion that has happened on the airport that many flyers, they complain that there are long queues before they are cleared by the security. Often they have missed their flights. So because of this particular thing, Ministry of Civil Aviation, it has come out with the Digi Yatra initiative. Now in this Digi Yatra initiative, what will happen? By the use of biometric technology such as your facial recognition, such as your thumb imprint, passengers will be cleared on security checkpoints. Now what happened? For example, you have to enter the airport. Now when you have to enter the airport, you will give your Aadhaar card to the CIS staff that is there. Then that person will match your identity, will see your ticket, your boarding pass, and all such kind of a thing. Now it might take 3-4 minutes. But what is Digi Yatra? So through Digi Yatra, by scanning your face, your identity will be verified. Physical verification of identity is not needed. And by that, security clearance time will come down. Security clearance time will come down. So what is Digi Yatra? It is a digital initiative by the Ministry of Civil Aviation to reduce the congestion at airport. It is to improve the quality of travel through air, and right now it is being applicable on airports. Understand, right now it is not for trains, it is not for buses, it is not for ships, it is only for the air travel. So now this Digi Yatra app has been there, it's fine. So you have to download a Digi Yatra app, and through that all this seamless clearance will happen. Now this Digi Yatra app, this particular app is not developed by government. This app is developed by a Hyderabad startup, Data Evolve Solution, and this company was selected by whom? This company was selected by Niti Aayog through under the Atal Innovation Mission. Under the Atal Innovation Mission. Now, what is the issue that has come right now? So basically, guys, right now many passengers, they have complained this thing that without their consent they are being made to sign up Digi Yatra app. Okay, so if you, let's say, go to airports, for example, it is operational at the Indira Gandhi International Airport of Delhi. So if you go there, there are the volunteers, fine, they will nudge you that please download this Digi Yatra. And here it is being said that even the people who are not, now see, there is a separate queue for Digi Yatra passengers and for the passengers who have not installed the Digi Yatra. So even in that queue where the people have not installed Digi Yatra, they are being made to sign Digi Yatra. Okay, so this is something that has happened. Now, on that dimension, no need to go too much in detail. Okay, but obviously it happens to be a violation of one's privacy. Okay, then moving on, and let's take the next article. Deep tech policy to be sent to cabinet for approval, says scientific advisor. Says scientific advisor. Okay, so basically, guys, here we see that Mr. Ajay Kumar Sood, principal scientific advisor, was addressing an event, and there he has mentioned about the deep tech policy. Deep tech policy. So for our prelims examination as well as GS paper number 3, science and technology mains paper, we need to know about this deep tech policy. So what is this deep tech policy? So let's see this particular thing one by one. So first of all, guys, when we talk about the deep technology, there is no official definition of deep technology, but deep technology includes emerging high-end technologies. For example, Just a minute. Now, one thing that I want to tell you, guys, that actually there are more than 10,000 startups, 10,000 startups which are working in the direction of developing semiconductors. They are working for the development of artificial intelligence, LLM, that is large language model. What is large language model? Chat GPT, you might have used it or you might be knowing about. Chat GPT is a example of large language model. So LLMs, biotechnology, space technology, drone, pharma, in all these particular directions, whatever the high-tech technological developments are happening, on that capacity, we have more than 10,000 startups. And all these areas, they have been called as deep technology. All these particular areas have been called as deep technology. And recently, you might be knowing already that India has hosted G20. And as India hosted G20, in G20, India said that India is developing a successful ecosystem for deep technologies, because first already India came out with UPI, which happens to be most effective financial transaction system in the world. So after that, India is now leapfrogging in deep technology, India said in G20. And therefore, for effective development of deep technologies, National Deep Tech Startup Policy has been put in the public comment. And after the public comment will be received on this National Deep Tech Startup Policy, then this particular policy will be given to the cabinet for clearing. Okay. And right now we have approximately 10,298 startups. That number is not important. Okay. But point is that India has still just 10% of the startups in the deep tech. We further need to leverage this particular area. We further need to leverage this particular field. Okay, so that is about it. And now moving on to the next article. Okay, so here we have this article. India's GDP estimated to grow. 7.3%, NSO data. Okay. Now, in this article, for the prelims examination, you need to know about the NSO. Because NSO happens to be a very important organization, and again, time to time, NSO comes in the news. Okay. Now, moving on. First of all, let's see what the article is all about, and then we'll go and we'll understand about the NSO. So basically, what has happened recently, NSO, National Statistical Organization, it has given the advanced estimates for the GDP growth rate in 23-24 financial year. Advanced estimates have been given. What is the meaning of advanced estimates? It means that it is a kind of a forecast that is made on the basis of last 6 to 8 months, and by analyzing the present situation, what will be the GDP growth rate in entire year, that estimation is made, advanced estimate. Now, as per the estimate that has been made by NSO, they say this particular thing, that for 23-24 GDP growth rate would be 7.3%, and in the first half, already GDP growth rate of 7.7% has been registered. In second half, GDP growth rate would be 6.9 to 7%, and therefore on average it will reach to 7.3%. Now already Reserve Bank of India projected the GDP growth rate at 7%, but it will surpass RBI's projection and will be in the range of 7.3% for 23-24. Who says it? NSO. Who says it? NSO, National Statistical Organization, National Statistical Office. Now, when we talk about NSO, NSO was created in 2019, and right now it works under the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. And NSO was created by merging two bodies, that is CSO, Central Statistical Office, and NSSO, that is National Sample Survey Office. So by combining NSO and CSO, CSO and NSSO, NSO was formed in 2019, and right now it is working under the MOSPI. Many places, even in Hindu, few days back, there was one report that was given, and there the name CSO, NSSO was used, but no, that is wrong. Because now they have been merged under NSO. Now, For the examination, there can be the question which might ask that what are the major functions of NSO? What are the major functions of NSO? So these are the major functions of NSO, and I have taken it from the website of Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. So very important. Why? Because in your UPSC CSE examination, a question might come asking that consider the following statements with respect to functions of NSO. They might give you 4 statements and might ask that how many of these statements are correct or which statement is incorrect. So these are the functions of NSO. First of all, what NSO does, NSO releases the GDP estimate. For example, this advanced estimate, who have released it? NSO has only released it. Then it also releases the Index of Industrial Production, IIP. Then it conducts the annual survey of industries, Then it provides the statistical information to evaluate the changes in growth, composition, structure, size of the manufacturing sector. So a lot of reports are released in that capacity. Then it conducts the periodic All India Economic Census. So find annual survey of industry, IIP, All India Economic Census, it is released. Fine. Then next what it does? It conducts large scale sample survey for creating the database needed for studying the impact of specific problems. Now, for example, when COVID came, after COVID, reverse migration happened. People from cities went back to their villages. So as people were going from cities to villages, what impact will be there on migrant population because of pandemic? What impact will be there on the disabled people because of the pandemic? That is fine. So what it does, it conducts the sample surveys and creates a database to study the impact of different problems onto the different societies section. Fine. Also, it sees that what is the impact of on economic areas such as employment, consumer expenditure. Fine. So this is a very broad, very big domain. And then also, guys, now this is a very important function and this is a very different one also. It also releases the grants to registered NGOs, non-governmental organization and research institutions for taking special studies or surveys. So yes, it can also order grant, it can also order money, fine, to the other NGOs. Is it clear or not? Fine. So very important function, because if in an exam this will come that NSO allows for grants to other NGOs. This might not click in your mind. You might think that NSO, it is an organization which collects data, releases surveys. So why it will be releasing money? You might not mark it, but yes, it is one of a function, and I have taken it from the website of Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, the most credible source that we have. So that is about it. And now moving to the next article. Okay, so the next article, we have 2 articles. One is PIB, Cabinet approves Prithvi Vigyan, and on Hindu also this article has come that Cabinet gives nod to Prithvi Programme. Okay, so what is this Prithvi Programme? We need to see it with respect to GS paper number 3 as well as our prelims examination, because in prelims examination these initiatives, for example, recently Prithvi Vigyan was in news. Okay, such kind of a things can be asked. So let's understand this Prithvi Vigyan. Okay, first of all guys, when we talk about Ministry of Earth Science, this Prithvi Vigyan program has been brought under the Ministry of Earth Science. Now, when we talk about earth science, it deals with 5 components. Number 1 is atmosphere. That is the gases around the earth. Fine. Atmosphere, that is the gases, composition of environment, atmosphere. Second, it deals with the hydrosphere. So hydrosphere is a zone of water, oceans, rivers. Then next is geosphere. Geosphere is lithosphere, so rocks, land, surface. Then cryosphere is the areas which have water in solid state, that is ice, so Himalayas, glaciers. Then biosphere is the area of the earth where humans are living. Okay, so Ministry of Earth Science or earth science in general deals with these 5 components: atmosphere, hydrosphere, geosphere, cryosphere, biosphere. And now to deal with these 5 components, now to deal with these particular 5 components holistically, Prithvi Observation Initiative has been launched. Prithvi Vigyan Initiative has been launched. So what Prithvi Vigyan will do? It will holistically address all the 5 components of the Earth system and will suggest policies, will suggest measures, will suggest that how further conservation and enhancement of these 5 systems can be done. How the enhancement of these 5 systems can be done. So what will be the major objectives of Prithvi Vigyan Initiative? So there are the 5 objectives of Prithvi Vigyan Initiative. Major 5 objectives are there. Objective number 1, to improve and increase the long-term observation of all these 5 components. Fine, because if we will not have long-term observation, we will not be able to know the trends of glaciers, that whether they are receding, whether they are recovering. Fine, if we don't have data about the oceans, we might not be address the oceanic acidification that is happening, temperature rise that has happened on ocean. So first is the improve and increase long-term observation of the atmosphere, ocean, geosphere, cryosphere. Then next is develop the models. They will aim to develop the models to understand and predict weather. Fine, how the weather will evolve, how it will lead to hazard. Fine, and the signs of climate change. Fine. Second is explore polar and high seas region. Okay. Now when we talk about polars, it has been provided that we have 3 poles. Now yes, north and south are 2 poles, but Himalaya is being called as a 3rd pole. So now the Ministry of Earth Sciences called there are 3 poles. So polar regions, Himalaya, north and south, and the high sea regions are needed to be explored. Then develop technologies for exploration and substantial harnessing of oceanic resources, societal application. For example, guys, that how the temperature difference in the ocean can be exploited to convert electricity. There are polymetallic nodules that have been found in water, Indian Ocean, and how India can harness those polymetallic nodules. So how resources of ocean can be harnessed and how for society they can be used. Then next is translate knowledge and insights from Earth system in the various into the applications of that. Fine, in the applications of that. So this is about it. Also guys, when we talk about the Ministry of Earth Sciences, there is one very important project or initiative of Ministry of Earth Science, that is Deep Ocean Mission. Deep Ocean Mission. Now what is a Deep Ocean Mission? Deep Ocean Mission is to develop the submersible submarines which can go up to 6,000 meters in the Indian Ocean. So guys, recently you might have heard that particular incident, that where there were certain people who went on a submersible to observe the wreckage of Titanic ship which got submerged in 1912. Okay, then the submarine got imploded and people died there. So when we talk about developing the submarines which can go deep up to the depth of 6,000 meter, 5,000 meter, that is a very big thing. And India's Deep Ocean Mission will be working in developing the submersible which can go up to the depth of 6,000 meters. Okay, and then there is also one more development that has happened in this capacity, that the cabinet has also approved the agreement between ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization, agreement between ISRO and Mauritius Research and Innovation Council. And as per this ISRO and Mauritius Research and Innovation Council agreement, India will provide them, India will develop with them a small satellite. Fine, and it will be ready in the 15 months. So on this particular line also a prelims question can be asked, that recently ISRO signed an agreement with one of a country to jointly develop a small satellite. Which is this country? They might give you option Mauritius, Maldives, fine, Mauritius, Maldives, Sri Lanka, Afghanistan, something like that. Okay, so this is the thing. Fine, so I am giving you hints also. Please be prepared on such things. Okay, now moving on, and let's take the next article, the need to examine the examination system. The need to examine the examination system. Now this particular article, guys, we are going to see with respect to GS paper number 2, issues related to education. GS paper number 2, issues related to education. So basically what article is actually talking about? So article, guys, is actually talking about examination pattern that is there in India. Article says this thing, that examination pattern right now, it is redundant, it is not serving the need of a knowledge economy. Please write down this word, knowledge economy. Basically what they say this particular thing, that first of all, when we talk about any examination system, the standard of that examination system is based on the value that the certificate or the degree it has. For example, you getting an undergraduate degree in engineering from IIT, and you are getting an undergraduate degree in engineering from some other college which is not that much reputed. So an IIT graduate and a graduate from some other college, you know who will command higher status in society, who will get better jobs? Obviously the engineer who graduated from IIT. So understand this thing, that every board, let's say in the schools also, we have state board, we have CBSE board, we have ICSE board, we have international board. Every board have its own distinct social reputation. Same way universities have their reputation. So basically any education examination system's reputation lies that what value its degree, what value its diploma holds. Okay, now understand this particular thing, that when we talk about the education, teaching, learning, always the aim of education, teaching, learning is to equip a student so that a student can solve the complex practical problems, so that a student have more critical thinking, rational thinking capabilities. But what is happening? It is being said that in our country, the examination, they are just preparing the students to rote memorize. Their examination are based on the memory. For example, the article says that every board, let's say you are from CBSE board, let's say you are from Delhi University, there is a specific syllabus that is given. That specific syllabus is taught to the student. If one question, two question is little bit different, often what will be happening? These particular things will be said that the question is out of syllabus. So point is that what happens when there is a distinct syllabus for, let's say, a degree, then the teacher is concerned in only teaching that syllabus, student is concerned in learning that syllabus, and both the objective is to secure more and more marks. So today in our society 70%, 80% marks are celebrated. So what celebration you are doing? You are celebrating that there was a dedicated text that was given and how well you memorized it, how well you learned it. On that basis you are celebrating the marks. So what they are saying, they say this particular thing, that this general pattern is actually not preparing the children to solve the complex problems of the world. Now they say that, let's say when you will go to the job, let's say you are an engineer and you went to a job. On that job, problem will not come after seeing the syllabus. Problem could be from any domain, and you should be able to equip to deal with that particular problem. So they say this particular thing, that rather than the general pattern, there needs to be an attempt to ensure that a holistic education, holistic learning should be there. Now it also has an economic cost. What happens? Many of the, now guys, if I give you the data from India Skill Report, according to India Skill Report, only 46% of college graduates are employable. Majority of college graduates are not employable. Why? Because they lack the industry skills. Why they lack industry skills? Because in colleges they are not being taught. So they say that often what happens, the employers, they have to retrain the new graduates, and it takes a lot of cost. Fine. What happens? If we improve the standard of education, it will indirectly improve the ease of doing business in India, because when the industry will get readily deployable graduates, obviously it will be a better thing. So now these are some additional points, guys, that I'm telling you. Please keep noting it down also. Now when we talk about India, India has 1100 university, 50,000 affiliated colleges catering to 40 million students. There are 60 school boards in India catering to 15 million students every year. Okay, 50 million students or 15 million students are getting passed out every year. Now what we have the standard examination set up for all of them. Every college or every university has their examination pattern, every school board has an examination pattern. Okay, so the standardization has come. Okay, also now this standardization does not assesses holistically a student. Always an examination is supposed to test the scholastic abilities. Fine. From memory is an important, application, creation of knowledge, critical thinking, all these are to be the objectives. But right now in our education system, when there is a general pattern, specific syllabus is being learned, specific syllabus is being taught, these particular things are not getting met. And it has been said that often what happens, even in the even in the setting of question papers, there are often grave errors that are there. For example, what happens? Often there are language errors in conceptualization, irrelevant questions that do not test higher order learning. Such problems have come in the university, school boards, etc. Also, what happen? Employees disregard the such education. Now, what happens? Often, what employers will do, they will have their own assessment test, and because of that, there is a coaching market that has flourished. Coaching market that has been flourished. So, this is one of a problem. Now, what can be the solutions in this particular capacity? What can be the way forward in this particular capacity? What the steps we need to take? So, number one, they say that the step number one, how to reform the education setup in country. Step number one, continuous assessment. Now, see this particular thing. Understand this thing. A student should not be judged only on the basis of one paper that will be held at the end of the year. Continuous assessment of a student should be there. But in continuous assessment, there will be a problem. Often when a student is being assessed, there might be a subjectivity that will come. Some students will be the teacher's favorite. Teacher will give more marks to them. Often that happens. So there has been said that continuous assessment should be there throughout the course. But at the same time, teacher have to give a proper documentation and needs to give the logic, needs to have a real-time oversight, and need to assess the students with an objective way. Subjectively, students should not be assessed. Continuously, students should be assessed. They should be assessed objectively without any bias. The next, use of technology for examinations. Use of technology for an examination. Particularly, guys, what happens? You might have seen this particular thing in humanities, that you never get marks beyond a particular range. Okay, when you are writing an answer on humanities, teacher subjectivity always play a very important role. So for that, technology should be used for the evaluation purpose. And right now, as the OCR technology has evolved and AI has evolved, there are many tools to assess the students. Then next thing that comes here is that, guys, often what happens, there are a lot of frauds, etc., that go in our education setup. For example, papers, they get leaked before the examination, and because of these frauds, what happen, a kind of a boards, a kind of a bodies, entire reputation gets impacted. So the negligence, fraud, academic inadequacies, quality issues that are there, they should be punished. They should be punished. And at the same time, external audit of assessment systems needed to be there. Okay, how the colleges, schools are grading the students, the assessment of such things, that assessments audit should be there. Fine. So these are the ways in which the education setup can be reformed. Fine. So guys, I hope that you have understood this particular article. Beyond this, there is nothing important here. Now moving on to the next article. 5 of 6 accused in parliament breach case give nod to undergo polygraph test. So for our prelims examination, fine, as well as our GS paper number 2, this polygraph test is important. Now, names of these people is not important, but this polygraph test is important. So what is this polygraphy test? So basically, when we talk about the polygraphy test, commonly it is called as a lie detector test. Lie detector test. Now, what is a lie detector test? Now, in this particular test, what will happen? Physiological indicators will be used to assess that whether a person is speaking a lie or whether a person is speaking truth. Now, what happened? What are these physiological indicators? So, a heart rate, blood pressure, respiratory rate, skin conductivity, all these will be tested. Now, understand this thing. For example, you ask a question from me. You ask a, let's say I went to a marriage. I was not invited, and let's say I crashed a marriage. And let's say one person comes and asks me that, who are you? Now, this is a very simple question, that who are you? I can tell my name, but what will happen? Suddenly, I will be nervous. My heart rate will be elevated. I might sweat also if it is a first time for me. So what happens when we speak truth and when we speak lie? There will be different responses in our body that comes. Our heart rate increases, our pupil get dilated. Some people, they sweat. So basically, what is the polygraphy test? Polygraphy test is a test to see that whether a person is speaking truth or lie by analyzing all these particular indicators. A series of questions will be asked and a baseline will be set. For example, first a normal question will be asked, that what is today's date? They will tell that today's date is 6th of January. Then a question will be asked that what is your name? Now they'll very clearly, easily say that my name is Mr. XYZ. So first of all, some basic natural questions are asked. A baseline is set, and after that the targeted question will be asked. After that a targeted question will be asked. If a person is speaking truth, then obviously his bodily response will be on this baseline. But if a person is speaking lie, his response might change. For example, suddenly that person's heart rate might get elevated. So by polygraphy test, we can see that whether a person is speaking truth or whether a person is speaking a lie. Okay, so this is how the polygraphy tests are to be used. Okay, now though they are widespread and India is also going to use it, but its accuracy is still debated. Many number of times fake results have been given by this polygraphy test also in India through under the provision of CRPC. It is governed also, guys, on the case by case basis. Approval is given for the polygraphy test and a person's consent is needed. A person's consent is needed. Okay, now moving on, we have this article, drug war. Now this particular article, guys, will see with respect to GS paper number 2 issues related to health. GS paper number 2 issues related to health. Okay, now first of all, before going in this article, let me give you some basic background information. So guys, recently, now this article we have covered 2 days back also. What actually happened recently? First multi-centric point prevalence survey of antibiotic use was conducted. First of all, who conducted this survey? Basic question. This survey was conducted by the National Center for Disease Control. Now, under who this National Center for Disease Control lies? This body is under the Ministry of Health. And under this particular survey, it was seen that how much is antibiotic use in India? How much is antibiotic use in India? And when the results of this particular survey came, it was provided that over 70% of the patients in the tertiary care hospitals across the 15 states and union territories, they were prescribed antibiotics. 70% people were prescribed antibiotics. It was said that 50% of the antibiotics that were prescribed, they can cause antimicrobial resistance. They were higher order antibiotics, can cause antimicrobial resistance. Also, guys, it was provided this particular thing that 55% of the patients surveyed were prescribed antibiotic as preventive. Now listen this thing. Let's say you went to a doctor and you have some fever or you have some stomach ache. Up till now, bacterial infection has not been traced, but it might not happen tomorrow. In advance, the antibiotics are being given. So 55% cases, preventive antibiotics are being given, and only in 6% cases, the antibiotics were prescribed after identifying a specific bacteria. Understand this thing? Out of the total people, now listen very carefully and understand very clearly, out of the total people who were given antibiotics, 94% people were given antibiotics without identifying that which bacteria is there, and only in 6% cases the antibiotics are given by after identifying the strain of bacteria that is there. So because of this, what happens? India is facing the threat of antimicrobial resistance. India is facing the threat of antimicrobial resistance. India is facing the threat of antimicrobial resistance. Just a minute. So threat of antimicrobial resistance is emerging. Now, what is threat of antimicrobial resistance? So guys, when we overuse any kind of an antibiotic, over a period of time, our body become resistant to that antibiotic drug. Now, what happens? We often get infected by virus, we often get infected by bacteria. Now, particularly bacteria, fine. Now, guys, when we are getting infected by a bacteria, that bacteria is evolving itself continuously. First time you used an antibiotic, bacteria was eliminated. Second time you used that antibiotic, bacteria got eliminated. But as you will use that antibiotic again and again, the bacteria will get used to it. And the pathogens evolve and they develop a defense mechanism against the existing drug. So WHO is saying this particular thing, that every year, because of the antimicrobial resistance, 1.27 million deaths are happening globally. Okay, fine. So estimates that AMR was directly responsible for 1.27 million global deaths in 2019 and contributed to 4.95 million deaths, okay, up till now. So point is that we need to deal with this antimicrobial resistance pandemic, epidemic that is coming. So therefore, what we need to do? We need to ensure that antibiotics are only given in those cases where they were really required. So infectious disease specialists, critical care experts, they are saying from long time that antimicrobial resistance is a very big thing, and therefore there should be a control on the use and the promotion of the antibiotics. So the role of doctors, the role of government is very crucial. Sometimes patients are also very much impatient. They want to get treated. They don't want to wait for the diagnosis reports to come. They just want to get treated and they want temporary relief, and therefore they take, often you might have also bought over the counter antibiotics. For example, when there is a pain throat, you might have bought azithromycin from the chemist shop. So that is an fine. So therefore such kind of reforms are immediately needed. Okay, now moving on, we have this article, secularism in India is not just as same as in Europe. So basically guys, recently Mr. Akil Bilgrami, who happens to be a professor of philosophy, he has talked on the secularism in India. So he was taking a lecture at a Madras Christian college, and there he has talked about the secularism. So first of all, when we talk about secularism, guys, we always say that secularism is a concept which born in West, and Western model of secularism and Indian model of secularism, they are said that they are different. We say Western model of secularism is based on to the absolute separation of religion and state. Indian model of secularism is based on the idea of Sarvadharma Sampan and Sarvadharma Sambhav, where state and religion are not separated. Rather the state promotes all religion equally. Okay. So now here in this article, what the professor had said that in secularism there are three types of commitment that will be there. Number one, freedom of religious belief and practice. State will give you the freedom of religion, practice, faith. India gives it. Principles enshrined in the constitution that makes no mention of religion. In our constitution, there is no mention of religion. We are not mentioning that X religion is more important or Y religion is more important. Okay. Or no opposition to religion is also there. Fine. We know we have article 25 to 28 which gives the right to religion, but special reference is not given to any religion. Also, no religion is being suppressed. There should be equality, freedom of speech. We have equality of freedom of speech. Article 19 is there. The third is the commitment, which says if there is a clash between the first and second, the second commitment must get priority. Now this is very interesting. Suppose if a person is practicing their religion, and if, now see, freedom of religious belief and practice. Now see, often guys what happens in the name of disturbing the sentiments of some other community, X community is practicing their faith, and a person from other community had said something. The person from this community, they say that I got offended, and then the other person's freedom of speech expression will be curtailed. The person will be put in the jail. So it is being said that if a religious practice is there and if freedom of speech is there, okay, equality is there, this will be given more importance. Freedom of speech should not be curtailed, should not be restricted. If some other community says that we are getting offended, this should not happen. This is the three principles of secularism as given by Professor Bilgrami. Now, Professor Bilgrami has also mentioned that Mahatma Gandhi considered secularism as a doctrine. It is needed for Europe only. Why? Because majoritarianism has been there in Europe. Christians have been a majority. So Mahatma Gandhi equated that secularism is needed there. He said that such a damage of majoritarianism has not happened in India. Okay. And for him, even nationalism was nothing but an anti-imperialism. So this is the views of Gandhiji. But if we see Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's view, his view will be different. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar say that on the name of religion, actually majoritarianism has been happened in India. So often these views, ideologies will be different depending on the person and the outlook that a person holds. Then he also says this particular thing, that there is a difference between secularism and secularization. Now, first of all, what is secularism? Secularism is when state gives equality to all the religion. It is a political doctrine. And what is secularization? Secularization is a social process. Now, what is secularization? Understand. Secularization is a phenomena when the religious thinking will decline, religious institutions' importance will decline, people's religious outlook will decline. That is secularization. So, secularization is a loss of secularization is a social process of loss of belief in religious doctrine. You will not give that importance to religion. Ceasing to carry out standard rituals etc that are there in every religion, they will just become a small part of private life. Their importance will go down. So this is the difference. Also he said that notion of Indian secularism is often we say that Western secularism and Indian secularism, they are different. Western secularism and Indian secularism, he said that it is, we say that it is different. He has refuted it. He said that no, it is not different, it is the same. He says that even Western and Indian secularism, they are same, there is no different. Even West gives the same permission to religion as India gives, So that is all guys about it. And you can quote these particular things, particularly if you are from sociology, you can quote these particular things by citing the example of Professor Akil Bilgrami. Okay, then moving on. And guys, here we have one article, nothing much important has come in this direction. So basically, recently this news was there and we have covered it also, that many of the journalists, they have went to Supreme Court saying that our electronic devices, laptops, tablets, computers, they are confiscated by in the raids, and our sensitive data is there. That data is being checked without our permission. Right to privacy is getting violated. So Supreme Court, what happened? Supreme Court issued the notice to the government that while confiscating the electronic devices of the journalist, fine, CBI manual to protect the integrity of personal data should be used. But journalists say that it is not getting followed. Supreme Court is again asked that how you are seizing the electronic data. Just that thing has come. Now guys, one more thing, that what happened, government already had said this particular thing, that we will come out with a dedicated policy in 3 months. We will come out with a dedicated policy in 3 months. Till then, these particular things will go on. Beyond that, nothing much important is there, to be very frank. Fine. Then moving on, and guys, let's take the main practice question for today. Okay, so we have this question: reforming the examination system to ensure its credibility is a key way to improve educational standard. Comment. 10 marker GS2. This question will be a 10 marker GS2 question. So that is all guys about it, and with this we come to today's news session. I hope guys that you have understood it and you appreciate the new additions that we have done. Now guys, we just need your support in this particular direction. Thank you so much.